Hello, I am Lava Canyon. Smash Bros. Ultimate was so cool, right? It was so good. That everyone is here announcement was so bonkers. I couldn't believe they were serious, and then Pichu appeared and things got real. Dr. Mario, Young Link, like never in any brain timeline did I believe that there would be any reason to bring those back, but they sure did. And so much more. Every newcomer they revealed felt less and less real. Ridley too big. I thought he was too big. King K. Rool. Everybody hyped up that super armor, but nobody ended up playing him. Piranha Plant, I forgot that character existed. Marx as a boss fight was so cool too. Oh, and the fighter passes. That Microsoft character, you didn't do a deal with the devil, Bill Gates. Did you, Sakurai? Man, who cares about King of Fighters? Nobody. But that accurately built retro opening cutscene was so cool. Sephiroth, I mean, come on, I'm dying here. I mean, Cloud in Smash 4 already set the mind-blow precedent, but geez Louise. 4 Sephiroths, 4 Ridleys, Big Blue, no obstacles, I just couldn't. And the most wanted Smash Bros. Fighter, Mickey Mouse. What a way to end a masterpiece of a crossover. Anyways, all I'm saying is that Ultimate was a fantastic act of fan service. Sakurai stated how difficult it would be to do when everyone is here again, especially with the added DLC characters, and said it was very unlikely that they'd do so. This makes the next possible entry in the series sound like a real steam breaker in the making. Ultimate was such a huge phenomenon that topping it seems near impossible. Some people suggested the idea of a Smash Bros. Ultimate port. This would make it easier to get the licensing and you add more DLC and they could just do whatever, right? Like a Mario Kart 8 scenario. Nintendo has ported many games lately. But I think the precedent for the Switch was because like the Wii U was so bad and it was most likely due to the bad sales that they wanted to just put everything onto the Switch to just recoup what they lost, bring into the more successful console. Regardless, it could work, but this video will throw out the idea completely and suggest a brand new Smash Bros. This will assume the roster will be cut a little bit. That would suck, and talking about who would be destroyed will also not be discussed in detail. All of the Fire Emblem characters will probably stay. So instead, there must be other things that fill the void lost by what Ultimate did. Stuff that gives the new Smash its own recognizable identity. Newcomers are its own thing, so I want badly to give at least some ideas for some. I was one of the people who submitted to the Smash 4 fighter ballot back in the day, and my entry was Paper Mario, and I'm still awaiting him. The hammer could be used in a lot of ways as general normals. The partners could make the rest of the moveset, could have partners from all sorts of the games, maybe even including the Mario and Luigi partners like Chippy. Though if not, a cool way to subtly reference the Mario and Luigi series could be by having the hammer be a charge, but have it break when charging too long, having the attack use the handle only, as occurs in the Mario and Luigi series, and that's unique from how Paper Mario Hammer works, but it's nearly identical, so the idea is that it would barely be a reference, but technically it's only done in the Mario and Luigi games. So it would be kind of cool to see that. 5 other newcomers could be Bomberman with all his bombs, Uppy would be a bomb, Aerial would be a bomb, Final Smash would be a bomb, would be so awesome. Tails, using his inventions and stuff, would be neat too. Flying, throw little robots and all that. Shantae as like the first indie character. Does Shantae even count as indie? Most of the games were digital, but her first was on the Game Boy Color. I feel like that would make someone official, but I don't know the exact requirements for indie. Any of the Prime Hunters from Metroid Prime are cool. Would be a way to hype up. Now, for the 5th newcomer. This is pretty obvious, and I know you're gonna be right? But Omega Minion. Omega Minion has had 4 games so far, as well as a Spinball pin-off. I think it's about time to add him to the chaos. But whatever, fighters don't mean a huge amount. They do? A lot, but they don't. DLC for ages, new fighters every hour, all $80 microtransactions, whatever. Do what you want, Nintendo. I'll buy them all. I'll buy every single one. Fighters would be their own thing, and it is possible they could still expand the number of newcomers, replacing who was lost. However, when it comes to the expansion of content, it could be something Ultimate just lightly dipped their little itty-bitty toes in. And that is Echo Fighters. The idea of them opened up a lot of possibilities. The best things in the world are those that take minimal effort, but still just give as much dopamine, and Echoes provide that. A mutually beneficial gift, a win-win situation, easy making, and hugely expanded content for us. I think that if the roster is actually lower in quantity than Ultimate, that Echo Fighters could help to inflate that number. Additionally, allowing Echoes to be hyped up in advertising in a similar way would work the same as full fighters. Anyways, here are 5 ideas for Echo Fighters. Dixie Kong, using her hair instead of a tail, and also hair instead of a jetpack. Pikachu literally had a clone Pokemon made in every generation and could work the same way as Pichu and Raichu, and the Alolan variants of that, they could all work. A lot of Pokemon in general would be possible. Many Pokemon can learn the same moves as others canonically, so you just squish them in there. Isabelle is trash. Tom Nook is the real deal. Final Smash would be putting the fighters into crippling debt. There is this one character that people often have a very difficult time finding an echo for. However, I think it is actually quite simple. Mr. Game & Watch. Game & Watch has been my main since Melee, so I have a special outlook on him. He's chill. The Game & Watch series has had many characters, and this has recently been reflected in his ultimate moveset. All of these characters could work as a full Echo, however, most of them are unnamed. That being said, one character that does have a name, and is in the Game & Watch series, is Stanley. He was originally from the Donkey Kong 3 arcade game, but appeared in the Game & Watch version of that and Greenhouse. This means that technically he is more represented with the 2 games in Game & Watch series than the arcade. A way to make him stand out a bit would be to give him color, like those color screen releases. That'd be fun. Slightly brighter, neonish, But as a final crackpot idea that I think could work better than you'd first think is an echo for Rosalina. Rosalina has such a specific moveset that no one else seems to be able to fit in, but I think I know a fun, obscure-ish character that would be really cool. And that is Princess Shroob from the Mario and Luigi's Partners in Time game. Compared to being a Peach Echo, Shroob was actually more of a commander with the Shroobs, and those could work as like a land-bound equivalent to Luma. The UFOs could be an air version of it if it'd be too much of a change, I guess. Of course, that would imply Nintendo knows what the Mario and Luigi series is. She'd work better as an echo for Rosalina than Peach is mainly what I'm getting at. That was enjoyable. Basically, what I'm getting at is an overwhelming amount of content. They could say in a small, stoutly voice, "Not everyone is coming back," and then immediately yell how many newcomers will show up. Basically, in the form of Echo Fighters. They could keep as many of the characters that normally would be disintegrated, like Pichu and Young Link. They'd be easy keeps, but the crazy third-party characters, those would be in danger. The theme that this series would go for would be chaos. They could advertise that anything is possible. They could push this by having more niche characters as echoes to say that no edition is too out there. Thinking something similar to the Piranha Plant reveal to just be like, your predictions videos are allowed to be fun again. That would completely destroy any possible prediction framework and make any crackpot idea a potential possibility, in which would promptly expand the hype significantly, I think. Echo Fighters that come from completely different franchises would also eliminate any structure for those. And, I mean, that would probably be the only way Ice Climbers could get an Echo, to be honest. Like, what, the bear enemies? Doing that would make the Ice Climbers like probably the base for any duo character if they went this way. I feel like Sakurai saying Smash would not repeat the inclusion was more of a softening of expectations rather than a specific plan. They would likely have any character they could reasonably get, but maybe they'd be a lot more less determined on getting licensing, and probably think twice for characters with complex movesets. Now, costumes would be an even more easy way to add representation. All they'd have to do in the form of labor switching would be to just do what they do with the Mii fighters, but simply do it for the main fighters instead. The potential is exciting. They could do so much more than they did in Ultimate. They could just go absolutely nuts. Here are 5 ideas for costumes first. All the Mario characters could have their sportswear, Mario Kart, tennis, golf, all that. Link, Zelda, Ganon could have their Twilight Princesses versions, back along with all the other iterations. Samus could have all the suits. There's a lot of suits. All of them. Dry Bowser, Wet Bowser. Ridley's NES version looks very weird, if you've ever seen it, but surely you gotta admit it would be pretty interesting to see what that early design would be fully realized, right? I'ma do more. 5 more ideas for costumes, but representing other characters. Olimar could have all the other captains and play exactly the same. Literally any of the animal villagers for the villager character. But also, there are like a near infinite hair and face combinations from the games that could be so easy to add. Isabelle could be the base for the NPC characters. Mega Man could have Proto Man, Roll, Base, maybe even X. That one's debatable. Wii Fit Trainer, if they choose to keep her around, could have a costume for the Ring Fit characters. And Pac-Man could have Mrs. Pac-Man if they can figure out all that copyright stuff. The ideas are endless, I'm telling you. Could really cook. I have to admit to you, I am a very, very, very casual gamer. So it is difficult for me to understand the professional gaming scene. And there is a big thing that divides us, the fun guys, and the gamers. And it is pretty tough to find a middle ground to. That's unlockables. Having the game be locked off at the start, forcing you to play in ways you may not want to in order to get what you bought the game for, I sorta get it. Kind of a little. For me, however, I do in fact really like the idea of unlockables. My reasoning for liking unlockables is due to the core feeling of simplicity. The increasingly large scale of the game all at once is a bit overwhelming, and I would generally just stick to convention. So the idea of playing at first a simple game but it's slowly gaining in scope feels really good and gives reason to explore all the content of the game. It's like playing Smash 64 again, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, never allowing any rest of content. One way to solve this would be to have all fighters and stages be unlocked while everything else is locked, since the serious players wouldn't really care much about cosmetics and items and music and stuff. Sure, I suppose. But here's my crackpot idea. Mostly, when first buying the game, the thing players generally want first is to play as their main. Obviously. And one thing these players would likely also have as a form of dedication to their main is owning a marketable amiibo of that character in question. Make it so scanning an amiibo automatically unlocks the character. You start the game, input the amiibo of your main, and immediately you can go to town. That is my idea. It means players can always have their mains guaranteed if they enjoy spending money on merchandise, but the rest need to be unlocked over time. But with that idea festering, unlockables could be a huge part of the chaos of Smash in general. DLC would potentially throw a bit of a wrench in this, as anyone who bought something would obviously expect to use them, but I wonder. They could do something like a fighter pass where they just gradually add costumes and other cool things and have them be added through silent updates. Maybe I'm going a bit too far with that. We'll see. I mean, roguelikes, they never had an issue doing stuff like that, but Smash is a bit different. I think amiibos can go farther, but before I discuss that, if we are going to go this far with unlockables, there are so many fun ways stuff could be unlocked. Back in the ancient days of the Wii U and 3DS 14 years ago, I remember 100%ing Smash 4 3DS back then, and the final unlockable for getting every single thing was just a Starman trophy. It was pretty underwhelming, and I think we could get something way cooler. That being said, there are two problems with having something more. Similar to fighters and stuff, it ought not to be something that people would be sad not to have. Since this would be the final or near final unlockable, it's unlikely many would acquire it, only the crazy ones. Also, it should be easy to add, as Nintendo wouldn't be able to advertise something most people wouldn't get to experience. And well, I think I have a really cool 100% unlockable in mind, or rather, multiple. Let me cook here for a second. What I'm thinking is the wireframe and alloy fighters from Melee and Brawl. They are simple characters, literally and purposely designed to be simple. They are also based on other fighters. The wireframe had a Captain Falcon and Zelda, so there is your base for those. The alloys were also Falcon Zelda, but also Mario and Kirby. These could be acquired by 100%ing different sectors of the game. 10,000 versus battles, all-stars, classic mode, all achievements, all events, adventure mode, etc. There are the first special fighters too. Smash 64 did the same thing but with polygon fighters. Maybe this is a bit too much, but there was a polygon fighter version of every fighter back then, and I'm just wondering, 100%ing everything for a single character to get a polygon version? Again, literally designed specifically to be simple and to work with a low polygon count, so they could shoot one out pretty easily for every fighter, I feel. But essentially, I think this would be an awesome unlockable. One that nobody would really be that distraught not having, but would also be very hyped to acquire regardless. It'd be so fun. Such little development for such an exciting addition, fan service, and celebration for Smash as a series itself would be perfect as a crescendo unlock in my opinion. That is just me gushing on my dedication to the idea of unlockables staying as a feature. Unlocking stuff is very fun and exciting. I would like some form of it to still exist. You know the old saying, quantity over quality. But back to my amiibo idea. It's difficult to say if the next Smash Bros. Will even have amiibo compatibility. I fear such a thing to be the case, but I really hope not. Amiibos were rarely used aside from Smash Bros., but they could have been. There could have been so much more. The primary potential that was very lightly done was to have crossovers in other games. They could have went so much further with that concept. Anyways, I'm just assuming they will, cause please, amiibos are the only reason we have merchandise from Mother 3. What I'm proposing is a set of Smash Bros. Amiibo cards, similar to what they did with Animal Crossing. The fighters would alone fit a set or two, but one big problem with the Amiibo cards is that they can't have save data loaded onto them, so Amiibo fighters wouldn't work to their full extent. I don't think anyone really even used Amiibo fighters after once as a novelty in Smash 4. So it isn't a huge loss, but could be a big thing that continues to make the figures unique. Still, they can do the instant unlock thing, but moreover, my idea is a thing they could push in general, and that'd be ease of use. The Amiibo fighter cards could be an additional way to select a character, inputting the card and having the player show up immediately, saving a bit of exhausting cursor movement, That'd be it if they just did characters. But could such a set add new exclusive content? Well, not really a lot. An amiibo card can hold up to 4 kilobytes of data, I read online. Double that of an e-reader card. You know, the thing from over 2 decades ago. It was never really designed to have the content actually on the card, but the idea is still there, we just need to mine the data limit. Something like palette swaps would work, just color codes and stuff. In fact, instead of raw characters, they could have these colors as a way to double the use, unlock the character and give a new color. Could do this for costumes as well, not like new costumes, but I mean like colors for the costumes, as it would be assumed special costumes wouldn't have any color variants, just for the sake of not having clutter. So a fighter unlock, a costume unlock, and an exclusive color only found in the amiibo card. But there could be many creative ways to do this. Dark versions of characters, black with yellow eyes, you could do that for everyone. Gold versions, pink, gold, peach, references to other characters, could do it all. There is, however, another idea I had. There is a certain game mode that rarely anybody uses. Do you remember something called Special Smash? A way of playing with silly effects like all metal or all fire or all large or all that. It was something we all tried once during a long night. We were all zonked and chose to try the Special Smash out of a whim. We did it for a bit and went back and never looked at it again. It's a very dusty game mode, but it can have its place. These game modes are effectively just giving an effect to every player in some way, and I think it'd be quite simple to add these as amiibo cards. Item variables, effect variables, only a couple of little identifiers the game can structure. But mainly what I think would make this work better is going back to the idea of ease of use. You get an amiibo card that gives everyone a super mushroom, and all you have to do to enable it is by scanning it, and it'll take effect immediately. Without having to go back into the menu and select it just for a couple of games and go all the way back and turn the game back to normal, the card could enable the weird mode for a single game and automatically go back to normal afterwards. Also though, I think it could add a lot of spice to a hangout in general. Generally, most players don't like to play these bonkers game modes for too long. But just once though, just to mess around a bit. Let's say every get-together you have with friends, one of you brings a pack. And while playing Smash, you all open the pack and you get a card that gives everyone infinite Smash Balls or something. Something really bonkers and silly, but you open it and just go, why not? And you scan it and you play a game or two and then go back to normal. It's a small tiny part of the night, but I feel like it'd add just a little bit of spice to every hangout. Just some little fun diversion would go a long way in making it special. It'd be a way to give a molding, rotting corpse of a game mode more significance anyway. But otherwise, single-player events akin to how Spirit Battles were in Ultimate could be a fun addition too. You could have a lot of things for cards. Intermission time! 5 new item ideas for Smash Bros? Bring back enemies as items. Goomba, Zombie from Zelda, Metroids and stuff. Assists kind of replace that, but there is some merit to have both. For example, these wouldn't be under the command of any user and would just stay around until thrown out. Assists could be delegated to side characters, while these could be like basic enemies, randos. Here's an idea. Shields from the Sonic series would be cool. To completely defend against a single attack. Villager has a move where he can grow a tree and have that tree expand, hitting people and stuff. Why not have it as an item? It can grow over time and it drops fruit and then it dies. How about Zelda Hookshot? Use it in 8 directions and zip to that spot. Sounds like a programming nightmare, but would be so fun. And on the idea of mobility, teleporters. Maybe the Mario pipes would be funny. Could be in sets of 2 and thrown around. Could throw it and use the other to get to that spot. Or funnier, throw one off the edge while someone is using it and they end up falling and die. It doesn't really matter if the pipe is in the air, the Mario series never really cared for that behavior. There are other rarely used features in Smash as well. The stage builder is really cool, making stages adds infinite playability, theoretically, and can make things Nintendo would never do. But it wasn't as popular as it could be. So I had an idea that would completely neuter stage builder a lot. But just let me air fry for a bit, okay? There is another feature that people really like, the Omega and Battlefield versions of stages as well as the no hazards option. There were some weird choices with the disabled hazards option. People disabled hazards for Wily's castle because of the giant yellow devil, but the moving platforms were chill. And Big Blue without obstacles is cursed. It's just that little itty bitty ship in the air. And the many stages that end up just looking like Battlefield and Final Destination. These variations were a gift from Sakurai, and the fact that we got these versions to make things less chaotic is really cool. Am I trying to say that this isn't enough and they should add every little thing about the stage toggleable to fit players' very specific niches, like, honestly? Yes, I am, in the form of a stage editor. Instead of a blank canvas, drawing and adding nondescript platforms and such, have it so every stage has a variety of switches to enable or disable each and every feature of the stage and save it as a variable that can be played later on. This would allow a lot of combinations to meet what each individual considers too chaotic or too boring. They could add silly toggles as well, and bars that could be raised to ridiculous heights, like having the Bullet Bill and Peach's castle appear immediately one after another, or change the speed of moving platforms, or add a ton of them. This idea could have potential for the competitive base as well. Many stages get banned, maybe they could configure the stage a bit to make it legal again, at least on the local level. Though back to casual enjoyers, me, a stage editor could go hard by allowing features from other stages to be added and cross over different series altogether. This would be really nuts, and these features could be put into the pile of unlockables for the game. Anyways, here are 5 ideas for those. Olimer's Dolphin and Lilac Cruise? Could probably do any spaceship. Game & Watch obstacles appearing as WarioWare microgames. That could be fun. Kraid in Animal Crossing Smashville? Yeah. The Grim Reaper in Luigi's Mansion. Palkia in Reset Bomb Force to make the stage upside down. You could do that for basically all of them, but that one seems the most funny. Is it possible that some of these combinations being enabled could cause glitches or break the game? Just let people enjoy things, man. What about other modes for the game? Previous games had board platforms, break the targets, multi-man melee, the sandbag one, events, boss rush, smash run, smash tour, arcade mode, and all-stars. Well, break the targets and events could probably be amiibo cards. And Smash Run was really cool, but the players did not actually appear within the same place. If they added something like that back, having players interact with each other would be really cool and would do a lot for the mode. Smash Tour was a cool idea, but it was kind of badly executed. Would I be, as a casual player, be out of line by saying Smash Tour was too chaotic? It kind of just did stuff, and the battles lasted like 30 seconds each. If they added it back, I think having it as sort of like a hub that allowed player to guide what battles end up being by gaining features and effects by going on spaces and stuff. When fighters meet, they fight with a combination of all those additions, and throughout the mode slowly gain and remove various battle changes, and could go as long as players wanted in a way that you would allow each player to mold the game to their interests over time, but in a fun way. But that's just rationalizing. I don't see any merit of them returning any of the modes, really. A story mode is the big one, though. Adventure mode, emissary, and the world map spirit stuff, those were all top tier. And it'd be easy to still hype if they just did one of those again, but what would be a unique mode that would be really cool and fit the theme that I've been putting down, chaos and all that, Well, don't laugh, alright? What I'm thinking, what about a roguelike mode? So like have platform levels like in Melee's adventure mode, but they are split in generated pieces, with big arena platforms placed that initiate battles with some fighters, eventually ending in a boss arena with a big fighter or something. Platforms around or corridors leading to rooms would be a simple way to connect parts. Each level can be based on a game like the ones in Melee, fight a couple battles and a boss through a long stage. That's the general idea. Then power-ups could be gone that give abilities to the players over time, and the stages could get more difficult as well to scale with those players. I was thinking the power-ups could be like spirits or stickers, and maybe literally them, but if they do bring back trophies, they could do something similarly, attach effects to them like the other ones, just with the trophies. There are trophies representing fighters, those ones could give an extra life, but as that character. Trophies of the in-game items could enable a permanent spawning of those items, perhaps after each stage or each fight. Assist trophies could help out during battles, maybe just appear or be activated or something. The trophy power-up pool could reflect the actual unlocked trophies, giving reason to play those other modes, just to get them all. Here are 5 ideas for specific power-ups. This coin trophy, have it multiply the amount of coins gotten. This Thromp, have it make fast falls do damage, that could be kind of fun. Samus suit types, vary a suit to lower damage taken, you could do the same thing for like the other suits. Beat from Mega Man, the bird, allowing 1 save from bottomless pits or spikes every stage, something like that. Informational characters like Toad, Slippy, Tippy, Megalore, Tingle, Dr. Light, or Gyroid to label what areas will have, maybe in their own unique way. The bosses would likely be the coolest part, but there could be shop sections and minigames like the ones in Smash Run. Branching paths, maybe with dangerous platforming to weave around areas. Anyways, 5 stage ideas and gimmicks they could have. Mario Overworld and Underground? Pipes leading in and out. Overworld has high platforms while Underground has corridors. Pipes could cost coins to use to give some thought to exploration. Mega Man level with screens of platform challenges. Zoom out to allow the rooms to be bigger. Multiple doors to allow choices in what area battles to do. Metroid Zebus with corridors. Due to how roguelikes work, it'd be pretty difficult to make like a true Metroidvania. But there could be regular items around to give mobility, like the Screw Attack, Tanuki Tail, Paracel, to give the feeling of finding and searching for stuff, but not be necessary to pass, just useful. After beating the boss, an escape sequence would begin and you'd have to backtrack to the start. WarioWare Inc. Traversing the tower consisting of arenas that send the player to timed challenges in the form of microgames. Smash Run style challenges or easy fighter battles that have to be done in around like 30 seconds, depending on the challenge. And have more of these than usual. The boss would appear as the boss challenge. Star Fox Corneria, a mass of moving ships to platform on. Bigger ships being used as the arenas, optional ships able to be destroyed for items. These optional ships could be used as shortcuts, giving choice on how to use them. You could destroy them or ride on them, it'd be kind of fun. The levels could also be based on each actual stage, potentially using assets that can be used in the stage editor, just to connect those two together. In that case, the stages can be copied into quadrants, and the in-between be little sections, but the run would have levels be randomly picked in sets, like at start 4 stages consecutively, but like many roguelikes can unlock more, a 5th or a 6th more difficult stage. This would make it a long-running story opposed to a small fun mode. A story could evolve slowly through each play, similar again to how more cinematic roguelikes tell theirs. This idea has flexibility to be very simple or complex, with the potential for additions later on as well. It feels like a well-rounded idea. Well, the Switch 2 is out now, so we are in the era to anticipate a surprise announcement somewhere down the line. It's honestly a whiplash to be experiencing this, even though it's technically overdue. 9 years about that the Switch lasted. I probably won't buy the Switch 2 until like the next price drop, but hey man, the hype cycle is free, and man, is it a time to be a part of. And that era is soon upon us. It's always so fun speculating in real time, seeing all the leaks and trying to predict whether they'll end up being confirmed or not. I still can't get over that Grinch leak. It was so next level. It like had ARG level rabbit holes, and it ended up meaning nothing. Hey, the Rayman leaker and Burgerband, they were warning us, but we didn't listen. It was just too real. Well, both Smash 4 and Ultimate, they form such great memories. Let's see how insane and feral things get this time around. Let us just see. Anyways, bye.